पतित पावन परमदया प्रेमदाता पद्मावती कुमार श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम सचिनंदन श्री गौरंग महाप्रभु की जय। बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। वर शनिवाल की जय। जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे राधा कुंज बिहारी राधा कुंज बिहारी जय राधे जय श्री राधे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय हो राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे राधा श्याम सुंदर जय सचिनंदन जय गौर हरि सचिनंदन जय गौर हरि सचिनंदन जय सचिनंदन जय गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। वे वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। वर शनिवाल की जय। जय जय श्री राधे जय गौर सीतनाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. My pranam to all the devotees around the world. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate this most auspicious day of the disappearance of my Gurudev. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtotarastata Sri Rupanugacharya Varya Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja. Nam Shrishtam Manamapi Aisha Chiputram Atra Surupam Rupam Tasyakajamuri Purim Maturim Goshtuvatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Oh Radhika Madhuvasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tam Natosmi Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Nama Anandalila Maya Vigrahaya Prema Bhadivyatschabhi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktya Bhina Aparada Lakshay Chiptascha Kamaditoram Pamadhi Kripa Mahitvam Sharnam Prapanna Brinde Numaste Charanaravindam Brinde Numaste Charanaravindam Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Saketi Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Sham Sundar Shikanda Shekhar Smarha Sumrali Manara Radhika Rasika Mama Kripanidhe Supriya Charna King Kurim Kuru Tavaivasmi Najvami Tayavana Tivikaya Devi Tam Namam Janantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers, thousands and thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadev Paramaradya Tama Guru Pada Padma, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtota Rasata Sri Rupanugacharya Varya, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Parama Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Vanchakalpaturprasta, Kripa Sindhu Bhavata, Putitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. On the appearance and disappearance of Sri Guru, it is appropriate first to discuss Guru Tattva, and then discuss how that particular Guru, that Vyasti Guru, the individual Guru, manifested in this world the power of the Samasti Guru, the original Guru Tattva, Sri Baldev Prabhu. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there it is said, Yasya Sakshat Bhagavati Jnana Deepa Prade Gurau Martya Saddhi Sutam Tasya Saravam Kunjara Sochavat. It means that that Guru who gives the Gyan Deep, the lamp of knowledge, then he should be considered Sakshat Bhagavati, direct form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. In fact, Srila Vishwanath Thakur said that the disciple should not think, oh, my Gurudev is a great rishi, or a great sage, or a great scholar, a learned person. No, he should think my Gurudev is directly, this is the form of God who has appeared before me to deliver me from this world. Guru Krishna Rupahaya Shastra Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karan Bhaktagani. As Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami part, he said that Guru Krishna Rup, see, Guru is one form of Krishna. He is that form of Krishna through which, see, Krishna gives mercy to the world. But one should not think that Sri Guru is just like an avatar, an incarnation, such as Kurma, Varaha, Matsya or Narasimha. One should not think that Sri Krishna is a Vaibhav Prakash even, but rather an opulent manifestation. But rather the disciple should think, my Guru is directly the form of Brajandananda and Shyamasundara of Vrindavan. If his faith, if his nishtha in this will waver, then the disciple becomes the handicapped. He is injured. Just like it is said that the Guru nishtha, the faith and loyalty to Sri Guru, is the backbone of bhakti. It is the spine of bhakti. If the spine is injured a little, then a person becomes paralyzed and they cannot move. But if the spine is healthy, then they can run and jump. So in the same way, when the disciple has very firm faith, implicit faith in his Sri Guru, then he can run and gallop through the various stages of a spiritual life towards perfection. And if there is some sankshapa vinashati, some doubt, then he becomes paralyzed and cannot make a single step. So martya saddhi sutam tasya. If a person considers the spiritual master to be the martya, like an ordinary mortal person, then srutam tasya, all of his study of the Vedas, even if the person studies the Vedas and becomes very learned, but sarvam kunjra sochavat, it will be exactly like the bathing of an elephant. As an elephant, it goes into the river and becomes clean. But then when he comes out from the river, he naturally picks up dust in his trunk and throws it all over himself. So in the same way, the person who was making some progress in spiritual life, but they don't maintain their nishtha, loyalty and dedication to Sri Guru, then though they are studying the Vedas and becoming very learned, but very soon it will be seen that they will be caught by Maya, the material energy, and they'll become entangled in Kanaka, Kami, the Kamini, Pratishthabhagini. Kanaka, Kamini, Pratishthabhagini. They'll become entangled in money, become entangled with the opposite sex, and become entangled in Pratishta, striving to attain worldly recognition and reputation, and committing so many offenses. So, the understanding of Guru Tattva is essential in our spiritual life. Guru can be seen as directly the form of Sri Krishna, or Baladev Prabhu, who is the Akhanda Guru Tattva, Nityananda Prabhu, and this will continue up to the stage of Asakti. And when the devotee arrives at the stage of Asakti, then they can realize how Gurudev is the Radha Priya Sakhi, very near and dear maidservant of Srimati Radharani. And under the guidance of Sri Guru in the Sakhi form, in the Gopi form, they can be given a chance to serve Radha and Krishna. Now, Vyasti Guru, my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, he appeared in this world on the Mauni Amavasya, that is the dark moon night. Amavasya means the dark moon night. It is said that if someone is born on Amavasya, then they'll become a thief. So it's true that my Gurudev, he became a thief of hearts. Wherever he went, only by his smile or by his glance, he could very easily catch someone's heart and put it in his pocket and then take them from wherever they are in the world, and they would end up somewhere in Brajmandal and performing Brajmandal Parikrama under his guidance there. You know that Sri Krishna, he was born on Astami, Janmastami, that is the half moon day. And Srimati Radharani was born on the Astami also, Radhastami, the half moon day. And just as a half moon and a half moon, when they come together, they make a Purnima, a full moon. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has appeared, who is the combination of Radha and Krishna, he has appeared on the Gaura Purnima, on the full moon day. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Krishna combined, appeared in this world in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the Purnima, Radharani herself appeared. Radha Swarup directly appeared in another form, which was very hidden and very difficult to understand for the world. That is the form of Gadadhar Pandit. So Gadadhar Pandit, because he is the incarnation of Radharani herself, but Radharani is hiding her qualities, because Gadadhar Pandit is very submissive and very always very humble and polite. Whereas Radhika, due to the intensity of her prem, sometimes becomes bold and very often becomes, most of the time, she's in a crooked mood, she's in a contrary mood. So all these contrary moods, they were hidden when she appeared in the form of Gadadhar Pandit. So Gadadhar Pandit appeared on the night when the moon is hidden, that is Amavasya. So because my Gurudev is very near and dear maidservant of Srimati Radhika, appearing now in Gaura Lila as Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. So he also appeared on the Amavasya, on the dark moon night. Now, the dark moon night, it comes 12 times every year. But the dark moon night upon which Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj appeared was not any ordinary dark moon night. It was the Moni Amavasya. Moni Amavasya is very important because that is the day where during the Kumbh Mela in Prayag, then that is the main bathing day where millions of pilgrims go and they take bath at the confluence of the Ganga and the Jamuna, because that's the moment when the Amrita, the nectar that was churned from the ocean of milk by the demons and demigods, it is said that that Amrita, it falls down to earth on that day. So everyone, they take bath in the Ganga and Jamuna confluence on that day. But this pastime, this tradition, it has a very profound meaning. All the sages and rishis, they say you should bathe at this time on this day. Why? So that you will go there to meet with sadhus and hear Harikatha. The actual Amrita is not that Amrita of the Kirsagar churned by the demons and demigods. That Amrita is not valuable to devotees. The demigods drink it and they become very lusty. So that is not, and that Amrita makes one, it saves one from death, but not permanently. One may only live the length of one manvantar. So that Amrita is not interesting to devotees. The real Amrita is Harikatha Amrita, the nectar of Harikatha. So just as Lord Brahma was enlightened in hearing from Sri Krishna at the Dasashvamedha Ghat in Prayag, so in the same way, Sri Krishna, when he appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he inspired the manifestation of the universe of rasa in the heart of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, and that became Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Ujjwal Nilamani. So, my Guru Pada Padma, he appeared in this world on the Moni Amavasya. It signifies, or that is the moment where the Harikathamrita is personified, because he is Sri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaistyuktam. He is the very embodiment of beautiful Harikatha, imbued with all the qualities of Audarya, compassion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Madhurya, the sweetness of Radha Krishna Leela. So on that Moni Amavasya, our Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj appeared in this world. Now, his name, even from childhood, was Narayan. When he came to the Math, then Parama Gurudev gave him the name Goran Narayan Das Adhikari. And then later, when he received sannyas, then he became Bhaktivedanta Narayan. This name is very profound. Generally, the word Narayan, the name Narayan, is associated with the Vaikuntha. But all the names of the Lord, they're actually Krishna's names. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, the origin of all avatars. And he has distributed his names among others. And so the name Narayan, it has the Aishwarya Gata Vichar and the Madhurya Gata Vichar. One can understand the name from the perspective of Vaikuntha, opulence, or one can understand the name from the perspective of Madhurya. So that Madhurya perspective has been given in the commentary of Sri Harinamamrita Vyakaranam. Perhaps you know that Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, he has written a grammar of the holy name, Sri Harinamamrita Vyakaranam. And the first name in that grammar, in fact the first word of the sutras of that grammar is Narayan. Narayana Bhutoyam Varnakramaha. So in the commentary it is said, what is the meaning of Narayan? Nara means human being. And Nara means of the human beings. And Ayana means the shelter. So from the perspective of opulence, Narayana, who is the shelter of all living beings, that is God. His name is Narayan. But it can have another meaning. Here it can mean Narayana, who is in the shelter of the human beings. So all the associates in Vaikuntha of Lord Narayan, they have the four-armed forms. They are not human-like. The only human-like associates of the Lord, they are the Brajavasis. So Narayana means he who is in the shelter of the Brajavasis. As Sri Krishna himself has said, Tasman mat sharnam gostam mannatam mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena soyam te brata ahita. Sri Krishna said, Tasman mat sharnam gostam. Oh, this cowherd community, Nanda Maharaj, Madhya Yashoda, Rohini Maya, Tungi, Pivari, Kovalaya, Atula, all the Krishna's aunts and his uncles, Abhinanda, Upananda, and Sunanda and others. This cowherd community, they are my shelter. This is the sweet, beautiful Krishna, who is in the shelter of the cowherd community. Mannatam, mat parigraham. They are my family and they are my pran. That means pran. They are my life. So, and among all of those Brajvasis, especially, Krishna is in the shelter of Braja Gopis. As Sri Krishna in the Gopi Premamrita, he has admitted himself. He said, Sahaya Guruvasisya Bhujistya Bandhavastriya Satyam Badami Te Pata Gopya Kimme Bhavantihi. Krishna said to Arjuna, oh Arjuna, the gopis, they are my helpers, Sahaya, they are my Guruva, they are my gurus, they are my Shishya, they are my gurus and they are also my disciples. Bhujista, Bandhavastriya, they are my servants, but they are also my friends and they are also my lovers. In fact, I tell you the truth. Hey Arjuna, I tell you the truth. I don't know what relation the gopis don't have with me. They are my everything, they are all in all. And especially Sri Krishna, among all the gopis, he's especially in the shelter of Srimati Radharani. Srita Kamala Kucha Mandala Drita Kundala Drita Kundala Kalitala Lita Banmala Jayo Jayo Dev Hari Hare Hare Jayo Jayo Dev Hari. Srita Kamala Kuchaman, that Krishna who is resting on the heart of Srimati Radhika. He is the Narayan. So this name is very, very sweet. Now we come to the Vaisistya, the Avadhan Vaisistya, the speciality of Srila Gurudev's preaching. Preaching is not something whimsical, but rather it is inspired. it is transcendently inspired by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Actually, we see that throughout history, each Gaudiya Acharya appears in this world and they fulfill different aspects of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So actually, each Acharya, they can fulfill any part of the mission. They can preach everything, just like Srila Sanatana Goswami mainly preached Sambandha Gyan, and Rupa Goswami bheda-abheda-tattva, and Raghunath Das Goswami Prayojan tattva. But actually, Raghunath Das Goswami, he could have preached the Sambandha Gyan, Sanatana Goswami could have preached the Prayojan tattva. So they're all qualified. But on the inspiration of the Supreme Lord, they are entrusted with a particular aspect of his mission, particular responsibilities. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said, Ko bijibe doya hoibe udoy nijasuka puli sudina ridoy Bhaktivinoda koya binoy Sri Agyaktalo koribe pracha kabe habe bolo sedinayamo. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has prayed, when will compassion for all jivas, for all souls awaken in my heart? That's a very wonderful thing. Because generally, a person, they feel inclined, they feel favorable towards good people. And towards the bad people, towards very fallen people and misbehaved people, then they don't like them. But the pure Vaishnava is beyond all the dualities of this world, and he feels the pain of all living entities, and he wants that all should be delivered. He's ready to actually accept all their sufferings on his own head so that they can attain bhakti. So kabi jive dhoya hoibe udo. When will such compassion be raised in my heart? When I'll nija sukha buli, I'll forget my own happiness, sudin hridoy, and my heart will be extremely humble. Bhaktivinoda karya bino, I am praying. When will that day come? Sri Agyatalo karibai prachar. And on the order of Sri Agya. So here Sri means Shrimati Radhika. Shrimati Radhika orders her associates to come to this world and engage in prachar, in spreading the nectar of bhakti everywhere. So Sri Agyatahalo Karibe Pracha, our Gurudev, he received the order of Shrimati Radhika, especially to preach the glories of Radha Dasyam. Especially to preach the glories of her service. That is the Tatparya, the ultimate aim of all the Srimad Bhagavatam and all Chaitanya Charitamrita. But there it's described in such a way that it's not clear to the general persons. So even many devotees practicing for many years, this is not clear to them. So on the inspiration of Shrimati Radhika and his Guru and Srila Prabhupada, then he was entrusted with this mission to open up, to point out, to clarify this fact. Radha Dasyam, the service of Shrimati Radhika, is the ultimate goal of life for the Rupanuga Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Another aspect, Vaishishta, of the prachar, the preaching of our Gurudev, was his great emphasis on Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. And for example, on the disappearance day of Srila Rupa Goswami, for that time he made a conference of the Harikatha discussing the glories of Rupa Goswami for 5 continuous days every year. So it was really the biggest and longest festival of the whole year. So this deep impression will come to us that we should try to go deeply into the teachings of Rupa Goswami and internally aspire to follow after Rupa Goswami in the form of Rupa Manjari. In addition to this, we should say that the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami are extremely esoteric. and therefore they should be approached very carefully, very cautiously. So Srila Gurudev, he presented the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami. That was his focus. But the lens through which he taught them, that brought Srila Rupa Goswami into focus, was the lens of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Especially these three like lenses, bringing Srila Rupa Goswami into greater and greater focus. First, we can see, and you will understand, this point will be very clear soon. Just at the moment we are translating the second kanda of the Upakyan Upadesha of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and it's filled with very beautiful instructive episodes from the Upanishads, from Katha Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Svetashvata Upanishad, and also from throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. And each one of these episodes has some profound teaching that's very difficult for the ordinary person to extract. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, in an amazing way, in a way only a great Mahabhagavat Vaishnava can do it. He extracted the practical teaching and application in our life from each of these episodes of the Upanishads, from the Vedas and from Srimad Bhagavatam. And when you read and study, we hope this book will be published soon, these episodes, then you'll recognize, oh, I heard that from Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. And again, you'll be surprised, oh, because the exact flavor, the exact detail and the tenor of the presentation is the same. So Srila Gurudev, he was presenting this knowledge through the lens of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and then through the lens of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Jaiva Dharma, Bhajan Rahasya, Sri Harinam Chintamani, Chaitanya Shikshamrita. All of these texts are very, very important. So Srila Gurudev made these texts available for the world, and his presentation was very much through those. Especially Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has put a great emphasis on Navadvip Dham, and by performing Navadvip Dham, worshipping the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, as a very direct and powerful way to progress and become free from all the offenses which are obstructing our attainment of the goal of life. So the development of the Navadvip Dham Parikrama was very central gift of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So our Gurudev insisted that we perform this parikrama every year, and he led the parikrama in such a way that all the pastimes there seemed to come alive before our eyes. And then finally, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his Prem Samput, in his Chamaka Chandrika, in his Ananda Chandrika, and other important texts, Sankalpa Kalpa Druma especially, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has revealed and given insights into the writing of Srila Rupa Goswami, which were never expressed before. And so much so that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is considered himself to be an expansion of Srila Rupa Goswami, who came to shed further light upon his poetry. So Srila Gurudev was so expert in his presentation, very carefully bringing us to the shelter of Srila Rupa Goswami, but through the lens first of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, because the rasa will not be actual aprakrita rasa, transcendental rasa, unless one has a very firm foundation of Vedanta, of the Upanishads. Our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshmaja understood this, and this is why he called his mat Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti, his institution. And to every sannyasi he gave the name Bhaktivedanta, because without the platform of Vedanta, the conclusion of the Vedas, of the Upanishads, then whatever one is thinking is rasa will only be the prakrita, material. So Gurudev gave all this nectar very carefully through the lens of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and finally Srila Vishwanath Thakur, and he's bringing us to the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. Another essential contribution of my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, is his emphasis on 3 short texts that all devotees, they should memorize, and these 3 poems should be the guiding principle of their life. That is Shikshastakam of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then that is glorifying the process of realizing Krishna Prem through chanting the holy name. Then Upadeshamrita, very practical instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami, beginning with Vacho Vegam, Manasakorda Vegam, control the urge to speak, control the force of the mind, taking one into the worldly karmas and away from the Manobishta Seva, being absorbed completely by body, mind and words in the mission of the Acharyas. Tolerate all of these things, control the senses, and then gradually, step by step, rejecting what is unfavorable, accepting what is favorable, rejecting those things which destroy bhakti, those things which make bhakti successful, we should unequivocally incorporate into our life. And then the 8th verse, Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtanano Smrityo Kramena Rasanama Nesini Yoja Tishtam Brajeta Danuragi Jdanogami Kalannayad Akilam Ittupadesha Saram. This is the essence of all advice, and Srila Gurudev used to say that one can measure the degree of success in your life by the degree to which we are living this verse. And so here Srila Rupa Goswami Pad has said, the essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in very carefully hearing, chanting and remembering Sri Krishna's name, form, qualities and pastimes in that kram, in that sequence. In this way one should engage the tongue and the mind, and one should reside in Braja, if not physically then mentally, and when one becomes more advanced, even physically, one should go and there be the Tistan Brajeta Danuragi Jananugami, being under the guidance of those pure devotees who are deeply attached to the service of Radha Krishna. One should follow them outwardly and also follow them inwardly. This is the essence of all advice. And then the 3rd, Shikshastakam, Upadeshamrita. Then the 3rd, Sri Manashiksha. Sri Manashiksha, instructions to the mind, by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Very short, only 12 verses plus a Falshruti, the verse describing what is the fruit of reciting and following this Manashiksha. But this is essential. These are very practical instructions for those who want to follow Ragamarg. Guru Goshte Goshtala Isu Sujane Busuragane. One should be deeply attached to Sri Guru, deeply attached to the residents of Vrindavan in their Siddha forms and their Sadhak forms. Goshtali Sujane, one should have love for the Vaishnavas in the other Sampradayas. Bhusura Gane, one should have unprecedented love for the Brahmins of the Dham. So this is how Manashiksha begins. But today, it's very rare. It's very rare to find a person who's actually living this life. What to speak of having love for Vaishnavas in the other Sampradayas, even in your own Sampradaya, there's so much sectarianism and everything. So it's very rare to find someone who's following these things really in their life, because it's inconvenient. To follow Shuddha Bhakti is materially inconvenient. Nevertheless, if one wants to attain pure Bhakti, then he must follow it without all these things without question. So mantra Sri Namni, always remember to be very attached to your Harinam. Remember to meditate on the Gayatri mantras, Diksha mantras given by Gurudev 3 times a day. These poems, they come down to the nuts and bolts of life, by which we can see, am I living my life in the way of our previous acharyas, which is Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. Following in their footsteps is the only way to realize the essence of life. So also, in that Manashiksha, it is said, Samam Sri Rupena Smara Vivasha Radha Giribito Prajay Sakshad Sevala Bana Vide Tadganyajo Tadija Kya Dhyana Sravana Nati Pancham Ritamidam Dhyan Nitya Govadanam Udinam Tam Bhajamana. Oh my dear mind, if you want to attain the service of Radha and Krishna, who are the Smara Vivasha, completely out of control, they have become totally helpless in love for each other and playing together in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. If you want to serve them under the guidance of Rupa Manjari, then you will have to drink Panchamrita every day. So generally people know that Panchamrita is the mixture of the milk and yogurt and ghee and honey and so on. So, but Raghunath Das Goswami said you should drink this Panchamrita. 5 types of nectar every day. Ija, worshipping deities. Akya, speaking Harikatha. This is a very important point, speaking Harikatha. Because Srila Gurudev often used to say, don't neglect preaching just for chanting of Harinam. You should chant Harinam and also preach. Don't think that preaching is separate from bhajan. You should think your preaching is a part of bhajan. And by always speaking Harikatha, then he told me, if you go on speaking Harikatha everywhere, then you will have so many realizations. So this is practical. So in this we're discussing Panchamrita, 5 things. Tad Ija, Akya. Ija, worship the deities. Akya, speak Harikatha. Dhyan, meditate every day. Sravana, listen to pure Vaishnavas speaking. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavatamati Kriyatam Yadikotopila. Wherever pure Vaishnava is speaking, then we must go there and hear from them. And Nati. Nati means paying obeisances. Bowing down. By bowing down to Guru, to the Parampara, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of his associates, to all the holy places, to Radha Krishna and all of their associates, bowing down again and again. This is also an ingredient of the Panchamrita. So if a person is drinking these 5 things every day and worshipping Govardhan, then for sure they will be able to attain, following Sri Rupa Manjari, the service of that Radha and Krishna, who are completely out of control, completely lost in praying for each other. So, preaching, very important. Achar prachar karaha dui karya tumi sarva guru tumi jagatera arya. See, Sanatana Goswami said to Srila Haridas Thakur that some people preach but they don't practice. Some people practice but they don't preach. But for you, your behavior, your conduct, and that means your practice and your prachar and your preaching, they are both perfect. You do both. So you are Jagat Guru, the Guru of the whole universe. So Srila Gurudev, we can say, is Jagat Guru also, because he is perfect in his achar, in his conduct, and perfect in his prachar. How perfect in his practice? When he was somewhat younger, in the 1960s, at that time, he felt an intense urge to go deeply into bhajan. And he disappeared from the Math. He was in charge of Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura. And without telling anyone, and he went to Govardhan. When he was arriving there at Govardhan, there was a torrential rain and there was a flood everywhere. And he thought, oh, where will I stay? What will I eat? But just at that time, coming through the water of the flood, there was one Panda, Govardhan Panda. That is the Brahmin of the Dham of Govardhan, who used to take the devotees on the the Parikram group of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and Brajmano Parikrama in the Govardhan area. So he met the Panda there, and the Panda said, "Oh, come, Srila Narayana Maharaj, you come. I have a nice place where you can stay." And there was one house that was abandoned. He said, "You can stay here." And he also bought him Mahaprasadam. So Gurudev was staying there alone, very close to Manasi Ganga, and chanting 3 lakhs Harinam, chanting day and night and praying and doing parikrama. And in this way, he was completely absorbed. And in that place there he attained, of course he's a Siddha, Nitya Siddhi, he's an eternally perfect person. But he made the pastime of attaining his Siddhi, his perfection there. And this is why he said that later he bought that land where that abandoned house was. And he wanted that his Samadhi should be there. So his Pushtama Samadhi is there at the Giridhari Gaudiya Math near Manasi Ganga today. So this was a very beautiful pastime. On the other side, there at Keshavji Gaudiya Math, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj came from Bengal, he arrived there, and the devotees, they informed him, "Oh, Srila Narayana Maharaj has left, he has left." And when Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj heard this news, then he broke down crying. Once it was Radhastami, and it was the last Radhastami that Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj was in this world. And so he'd come to Govardhan, and there was to establish one math. And there was an abhishek, and then he went to lie down because he would leave this world shortly afterwards. And he was lying on his bed, and fortunately I had a chance to go into his room and speak to him at that time. And I said, "I have heard that you were there in those days when my Gurudev disappeared from the mat to do his deep bhajan at Manasi Ganga at Govardhan. Can you tell me that history?" So then he said, yes, I was there. I was there when the devotees told Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And I saw Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj immediately begin to weep. So what does this express? It expresses that Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj has such deep love for his Satsishya, for his eternal disciple Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. And Srila Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, he said that it is just like in the Rasalila, when Sri Krishna disappeared from the Braj Gopis, then at that time they became mad in separation. Lalita Gati Vilasa Falgohasa Pranayani Rikshna Kalpaturumana Kritamanu Kritavatya Unmadanda Prakritimagan Yasya Gopavadvaha Pratingayana Kila Yasya Gopavadvaha. The meaning is that when Sri Krishna disappeared from the Rasalila, the gopis became mad in separation. They began to imitate Sri Krishna's pastimes. And when Sri Krishna saw it, his life was changed forever. He'd never seen anything like this before. So gopis' prem was in their heart. But it can only be understood at separation, when the heart breaks and the love pours out. And Sri Krishna was quite amazed. He was completely changed. Before, Krishna was Siddha, but now he became Susiddha. He was perfect, he became more perfect now. So, in the same way, no one could understand how deep was the love of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj for Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. So this pastime took place so all the world could see. During that time, my Gurudev wrote to Srila Bharati Maharaj because he had so much trust and love in him, though no one knew where he was, but he wrote to Srila Bharati Maharaj and said, "Can you acquire for me the commentary of Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Thakur on Ujjvala Nilamani?" It was very rare in those days, and he searched in many bookshops in Calcutta and Delhi and other places, and finally he found it and he sent it to Gurudev, and Gurudev was studying that Ujjvala Nilamani of Rupa Goswami and the commentaries of Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Thakur during that time. So some persons try to raise a criticism, or he is not devoted to his guru because he left the mutt. But actually, he went there just for a month or so to do deep bhajan, and then when he came back, the sign that Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Maharaj has so much love for him, first his separation, and secondly, as soon as he came back, then he again put Gurudev in charge of the Keshavji Gaudiya Math, and for the rest of his life. So, this is a very beautiful pastime. So we see that yes, Gurudev, he took some time to go deeply into his bhajan alone. But then what happened? Then he was preaching non-stop, and writing books and publishing books till when? Oh, right till the very end, until he was more than 90 years old. So the Gurudev used to say, preaching is a part of bhajan. It should not be neglected. I remember when once Gurudev was in the island of Cebu in the Philippines, and he was taking a writing retreat at that time to write his commentary on Bhajan Rahasya, Bhajan Rahasya of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And one morning, and we would meet with him every morning, and he said, oh, now I'm writing this commentary, and I'm realizing how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in the form of Kamala Manjari, is relishing the rasa of all of these verses of Bhajan Rahasya. And then that nectar he was putting in his commentary. So we saw how Gurudev was unstoppable in service. Even to the last days of his manifest pastimes, he was preaching and he was writing and serving his Gurudev. One day, in Keshavji Gaudiya Math, Srila Gurudev, at the end of a class, he was walking up the stairs and I was walking behind him. And he stopped and he turned round to me. He said, when my Gurudev was about to leave this world, he's speaking of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Maharaj, he was weeping and he was saying, oh, I made so many mistakes. I have not done enough. So this is the nature of love. If you're doing something for yourself and you achieve it, then you have the mood, you become very smug. If we do something for ourselves, when we achieve it, then we become smug and we relax and think, oh, I've made this great achievement. But service is not like that. When we are serving our Ishta, our beloved Gurudev, then in the service to Guru, whatever we've done, it's never finished. And whatever we've done, the pure devotee, he feels in his heart, I made mistakes. It was not enough. Because love is like a thirst. It is the Prema-mayi Trishna. It is an unquenchable loving thirst. And so I have seen this in my Gurudev, and I have seen how he described his Gurudev also being completely possessed by Prem. So they cannot stop. Service to service to service to service. So when it was my Gurudev's Vyasa Puja, he did not like himself to be worshipped and that others should recite and he would listen to his own glories. He would stop. I remember once we came to make the offering to him and he took the paraphernalia from the hands of the pujari and pushed him out of the way, and the paraphernalia that was meant for his worship, he offered that to his Gurudev. So he used to glorify Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Maharaj, saying that in Koladweep, in Navadvip town, there were many persons. They were against Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. You know that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur established the main Gaudiya Math on the Mayapur side. But on the Navadvip side, when they did Parikrama, the Parikrama party was attacked by so many Pandits and Smarta Brahmins and Sahajas and others. So it was a place where there was so much antagonism to the mission of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. But when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur left this world, then our Param Gurudev, he didn't want to be Acharya. He was trying to support his god brothers, and he supported one, and then something happened, then another, and something happened. So then after some time, he realized, oh, I'll have to take some responsibility myself. So, but where did he go? He did not look for the easy route. He did not look for the easy route. He went right into the middle of the most antagonistic place, Koladweep, and he established a mat there. And when the mat was constructed, it was very beautiful. And on the day of the installation of the deities, he organized a very big festival. And on that day, our Gurudev was... how he used to speak about his own Gurudev with so swelling with so much pride. He said that, oh, my Gurudev, on the day of the installation, he made a big festival and he had some special thrones for the guests of honor, and they were seated with tables in front of them, and he invited all the pandits and scholars and smarta Brahmins and others who were previously in the previous decade, they were against Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. He invited them to come to that festival, and he invited them also to speak. And then when they were speaking, they were filled with regret. And they openly confessed, actually, when Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur was in this world, we could not recognize him. We could not realize his greatness. But now, we are beginning to realize what a Mahapurush he was. And they started to glorify Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So my Gurudev used to say, just see, this was the power of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami, he is such a Mahapurush that by his presence and by his preaching, even those who were so antagonistic, then they were completely transformed. Their hearts were melted. And they became delivered from their offenses. They began to recognize the glory of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Their eyes were opened by Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. Who can do this? No ordinary person can do this. These are the activities of the Mahapurush, great transcendental, liberated personalities. So it was in Srila Gurudev was saying this in Devananda Gaudiya Math in 1994. So Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj had left this world in 1968. So it was 26 years after the disappearance of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And at that time, Srila Gurudev said a very wonderful thing, a curious thing that makes us consider something. Gurudev said, as he was glorifying Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj as a Mahapurush, Gurudev said, by the mercy of this Mahapurush, in the time spanning the last 26 years, Kali Maharaj has not been able to exert any influence over me. Therefore, I offer my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of this Mahapurush. This is very interesting. Gurudev is saying that in the 26 years since his Guru left this world, that Kali Maharaj, that is the influence of this age of Kali, it was not able to make any influence over him. So what does it mean? It means that Shri Guru is an eternal transcendental personality. Shri Guru never dies. Shri Guru appears in this world and disappears from the vision of this world, but Guru is always present. So when the Shri Guru, this is so relevant because today is the disappearance day of Srila Narayana Maharaj. And Srila Narayana Maharaj himself is saying, when the Guru becomes aprakat, he becomes unmanifest. Now, he's still there and he's watching the disciple to see, does the disciple to continue to serve in the way he was serving at the time of his Guru? Because this is the testing time. Now it's 2024. It's 14 years since my Gurudev left this world. And so we should know that we can only be free from the influence of Kali by the Kripa, by the causeless transcendental mercy of Sri Guru, if we keep ourselves always absorbed in his service and following the instructions he has given, especially living the life according to Shikshastakam, Upadeshamrita and Manasiksha. So Kali causes a person to be absorbed in what? First, Kali. Kali means kalaha, quarrel. Absorbed in quarreling with others. Kali means staying where there is gold. Becoming crazy for money. And Kali means the 4 regulative principles. Anyone who is breaking 4 regulative principles must become influenced by Kali Maharaj. And so, this is the test. It is said, that when the cat is away, the mice will play. So those who don't have strong faith in Guru, they think, oh, when Guru is not there, I will do as I like. But Guru is always there. And by thinking in this way and acting in an independent way, one only becomes the aparadi, offender at the lotus feet of Guru, and then one becomes disconnected, and the influence of Kali will definitely come. So Srila Gurudev, when he established his society, he said, what name? He wanted devotees to suggest a name, and they suggested Bhakti Yoga Society, and he said, no, pure Bhakti Yoga. Pure. He said, because there are many societies for Bhakti, but in the teaching and in the practice, it becomes mixed with worldly consideration. So when the great Acharya, the great Mahapurush disappears, then there's always the temptation to succumb to mixing bhakti and to try to monetize bhakti in some way, and leave the eternal pure principles, because to follow the pure principles is extremely inconvenient. One of the main principles, what is that? Sadhu Sanga, Sarva Shastri Koi. Lavamata Sadhu Sanga, Sarva Siddhi Hoi. The association of pure devotees is essential. I have seen with my own eyes, not once but twice in my own life, when there was an Acharya and all his disciples were running here and there, telling everyone, oh, come, you have to associate with the sadhu, come and associate with the sadhu. Then the moment that Acharya left, he said, no, don't go and see any sadhu, stay here. Because it's very inconvenient to live the life of pure bhakti. But this was Gurudev's insistence. Not bhakti, pure bhakti. Pure bhakti. Pure bhakti is for those who are nishkinchan. They have no possessiveness over anything in this world. And so, if there's a possessiveness, if there's any institutional consciousness, then many obstacles will come to being able to associate with the pure Vaishnavas, which is necessary to progress in pure bhakti. Because Harikatha only comes from the lips of realized saints, really. Harikatha is Krishna himself. So just as Sri Krishna, Yan Machalila Paita Yoga Maya Balam Dashayata Grihitum, just as Sri Krishna's Leela is manifest in this world by the strength of Yoga Maya, the beautiful human-like form of Krishna is manifest by the strength of Yoga Maya. So in the same way, Harikatha, which is non-different from Sri Krishna and his pastimes, can only manifest in this world by the power of Yoga Maya and by the Kripa Shakti, the mercy potency of the Lord. We can give some examples. Harikatha is the absolute truth appearing on the lips of the pure devotee. Once, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he told Pranavananda Brahmachari, that later became Param Pujyapad Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he said, I want you to write articles, write some articles for our journals. So then he said, I don't know what to write. So then Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, oh, you bring a pen and paper. And then he told him, now first write Sri Sri Guru Gaurango Jayataha, and then write an article. So then Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami, he began to write Sri Sri Guru Gaurango Jayataha. Oh, glories to Guru and Gauranga. And then he began to write. And as he began to write, he was just writing verse after verse, paragraph after paragraph. And for his whole life, his pen never stopped moving. So the service, Harikatha, preaching, all these things, they are not material. Mahat kripa bina kon kama bhakti nai, Krishna bhakti duraya sangsar nahi shai. It is only by Mahat Kripa, by the mercy of Mahapurush, then the actual transcendental preaching and Harikatha can go on. So after that, because he was empowered, then his pen never stopped writing. Just like Bihari also, we can give the example of Bihari. He was the servant of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who used to carry Babaji Maharaj on his head in a basket. One time Babaji Maharaj told him, please you read Chaitanya Charitamrita to me. He said, oh, Gurudev, please forgive me. I am illiterate, I cannot read. He said, just pick it up and read it. And he picked it up and he looked and he began to read. So it does not depend upon any worldly qualifications. Only if one is niskapat niswarta. Niswarta means without the selfishness. And niskapat, not crooked, not duplicitous, not saying one thing and doing another. Not misbehaving and hiding from Guru and Vaishnavas. Just simple, honest and free from selfishness. Then the kripa, the mercy of Shri Guru will come and one becomes engaged. We are not the doers. We cannot do. We become engaged by the spiritual energy. So once I remember we were on Salt Spring Island, just off the coast of British Columbia in Canada. And Gurudev, as usual, during his class, he would ask some others to speak. So one devotee stood up and began to speak, and Gurudev checked his... He said, you have to say pranam to your Gurudev first. So then, Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Slaka, pranam mantra to Shri Guru. So then Gurudev said that before speaking, you should always give pranam to Shri Guru. Why? Otherwise it cannot be Harikatha. First, pranama, prakrista, in the most excellent way. Na, nivrita, give up. Aham mameti, ma, I and mine. Giving up all sense of identification with the body and mind. And surrendering the essence of our self, the soul, at the lotus feet of Guru. Then we pray that Guru can speak through us. That we should get ourselves out of the way so the mercy of Guru can come and Gurudev can use us as an instrument. So we can, every devotee, they can experience this. If they surrender at the lotus feet of Sri Guru, then, or by force, it is as if by force Harikatha is manifesting through you. So Srila Gurudev gave the example of Shukadev Goswami. How Harikatha is transcendental. It is not something of this world. Gurudev said that when Sutta Goswami began to speak the Bhagavatam in the first canto, he says, Yaswanu bhavam akila sutisaram ekam adhyatma deepam atitistitatam tamandam samsarinam karunayeya purana ghuyam tam vyasa sunam upayami gurun muninam. Sutta Goswami said, I bow down to Shukadev Goswami, my guru, who is the guru of all the rishis. I bow down to him. He has Yaswanu Bhavam. He has Anubhav, he has realized Akila Sutisaram Ekam, the essence of all the Vedas. Adhyatma Deepam. And he has spoken in such a way which is like a light, which illuminates the heart and delivers one from the ocean of material existence. He spoke this confidential Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Karunayeha. What? Karunayeha means out of mercy. It means that he was empowered by the Kripa Shakti. Because sometimes when Radha and Krishna meet, Gurudev described the glories of Harikatha in this way. Sometimes when Radha and Krishna meet, Krishna becomes so overwhelmed with Prem that he faints. Then, at that time, what Srimati Radharani is doing, who will say? Krishna himself cannot describe it. Sometimes when Radha Krishna meet, Radhika will faint. And then what Krishna is doing, who will describe it? Radharani herself, she cannot describe it. Sometimes when Radha Krishna play together, then they both faint. And then what happens? Who can describe it? Shukadev Goswami. Because Shukadev Goswami is the very near and dear parrot of Srimati Radhika, who is living there, and when they go into the Kunj, Shukadev Goswami goes, and in his parrot's roop, he sees the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And therefore, when Shukadev Goswami speaks, he is speaking from realization. What is in his heart has become karita. It has taken the form of words and coming from his mouth. And then it gives the opportunity, those who are listening in a mood of faith and surrender, with great honor, then they can also realize what he has realized. So, the thing is that the pastimes of Radha Krishna, they are so beautiful that if a person has not realized them, he cannot describe them. And if a person has realized those pastimes, he also cannot describe them. Why? Because if he will see those pastimes in his heart and begin to speak, he will faint also, feeling separation or faint in ecstasy. And therefore it is said, Sansarinam karuna yeha purana guham. See, Sutta Goswami is saying, it was by the Kripa Shakti, that is it gave the Dhairya Dharan Shakti. The Krishna's mercy potency gave the power for Shukadev Goswami to hold his patience so that he could speak those beautiful pastimes. And if the nectar was becoming too much for Shukadev Goswami, even with the Kripa Shakti, he is also about to faint. Then the Kripa Shakti would divert his attention to another subject that was not so rasic. For example, we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami is describing Radharani speaking with a bumblebee. And then, after discussing this beautiful pastime and how Radhika faints, and then hears the message of Sri Krishna, then immediately his mind goes to Mathura and he begins to describe how Krishna went to meet with Kubja. Why? Because that Leela was so intense, he was about to faint. So the mercy Shakti distracted Shukadev Goswami and brought him to another subject. Because if Shukadev Goswami had fainted at that point, then Parikshit Maharaj, he only had 7 days left to live, and he would not have been able to hear the complete message of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the speaker of Harikatha must be realized. And so one should have the Gurudev always emphasized. And all great pure Vaishnavas, they say this, without any consideration of any sectarianism. One should go and associate with those Vaishnavas who have realization. Because that is a completely different experience. If a person doesn't have realization and they speak, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur is saying this, if a non-realized person speaks and he quotes the verse and also the chapter and also the page number, everything perfectly correct, but still he's wrong. But if a pure devotee who has realized the beauty and sweetness of Sri Krishna, if they are speaking, even if they don't quite quote the verse perfectly correct, but still it's 100% correct, because the Shabda Brahma is the, and the Bhav, the loving Bhav, is the immaculate. That is Siddha. And it has the power to give realization to the hearers. But unfortunately, the living entities who are still covered with the anarthas, they cannot distinguish the difference between these two performances. The katar of the realized devotee and the katar of the devotee who is anarthagrasta, covered with anarthas. So, we could experience anyone who was very sincere and surrendered to Gurudev, if they go on parikrama visiting the beautiful places of Braj, like Uddhav Keri, like Rupa Goswami's Bhajan Kutir in Ter Kadamba, places like the Prem Sarovar and Sanket, Radha Kund, Manasi Ganga. Then when Srila Gurudev used to sit down to speak, then the atmosphere of Braja, the atmosphere of the eternal pastimes would spread everywhere. Gurudev used to say, Prema Bhakti Jahoiti Avidya Vinashayate. This is from the song Shri Guru Charana Padma. Devotees sing this song every day. It says, from Guru, Prem is love is emanating. So Gurudev used to say that Prem atoms are emanating from the pure devotee, and when they touch us, then it destroys our avidya. So today is a disappearance day. If the disciple, during the time when Gurudev is in this world, that disciple becomes Guru Gata Pran Shishya. This is a very important phrase. Guru Gata Pran Shishya. In Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna said, Mat Chitta Mad Gata Prana. He said, my devotees, Chitta, they gave their Chitta to me. Mad Gata Prana. Their Pran is the completely surrendered to me. That means especially that Krishna is saying, those devotees who cannot live without me, they're called Madgata Prana. So in the same way, the disciple should become Guru Gata Prana Shishya. Shishya means disciple. Guru Gata Pran. That his pran is given fully in the service of Guru. That the disciple, he cannot live for a moment without the service of Guru, without the association of Shri Guru. So for such a Guru Gata Pran Sishya, then Yasya Deve Prabhakti Yatha Deve Tatha Guru Tasaiti Katita Yata Prakashanti Mahatmana. Then all the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam, all the meaning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ujjwala Nilamani just manifests naturally, automatically, spontaneously, in full technicolor, with all fragrances, everything in the heart of the disciple. So, Srila Gurudev, he gave an example that Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, after Srila Rupa Goswami had disappeared from this world, he was in so much separation. And he wanted to write pranam to Rupa Goswami. So he gave his pranam and took his pen to write to Rupa Goswami. But then what did he write? Tvam Rupa Manjari Saki Pratita Puresmin Pumsa Parasya Badanam Nahi Pasasiti. Oh, as he felt so much separation as soon as he took his pen to write, and he bowed down to his Guru. Bimbad Rakshta Managata Bhatkaya Yattebya Daiki Mutats Chukapunga Vena. Then he almost lost consciousness. And he saw in the core of his heart that there standing before him was Rupa Goswami, but in the form of Rupa Manjari, smiling. And then Raghunath Das Goswami, in the form of Rati Manjari, he began to see her dear Saki, very dear friend, and seeing her began to joke and tease and laugh. So in the same way, if one becomes Guru Gata Pran Shishya, then when he bows down and gives pranam, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaye Pratmane Srishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana iti nomine, then feeling separation, then the spiritual form of Sri Guru will appear to him, very beautiful and shining, and carrying a tray with paraphernalia for Radha and Krishna in her hand, and then give this paraphernalia to the disciple and engage that disciple in the service of Radha and Krishna. So this is very important. Today is the disappearance day of our Gurudev. And disappearance is also called Viraha Mahotsav, the festival of separation. But who will feel separation? Only the disciple who, during the life and during the manifest pastimes of Sri Guru, was a Guru Gata Pran Shishya, gave themselves by body, mind and words fully in service. Then the degree to which they were surrendered, to that degree separation will come. And they will always try to be in the guidance of Guru, even when Guru is become unmanifest, always considering themselves foolish. My Gurudev said, you should always consider yourself a fool in front of Sri Guru. Because in the past there are many learned persons and qualified persons. But where are they now? He told some names, I will not tell any names. But the persons who had left Bhakti, who before were very high and influential, and they left Bhakti. So one should always, even when Sri Guru is disappeared from this world, especially actually, consider oneself to be a complete fool before Sri Guru and remain always absorbed in seva. And in this way, then the transcendental realization of Radha Krishna's eternal service will manifest in the heart. In regard to our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Maharaj, we pray Ati Martya Charitraya Sasita Anancha Paline, that Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Maharaj, his charitra, his whole character and activities, they're Ati Martya, superhuman, beyond this world. So, as we say that the pastimes of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Maharaj are Ati Martya, we say the same, not less, in regard to our Guru Pada Padma, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, Ati Martya Charitraya. All of his pastimes are supernatural. From the very beginning of his appearance on the very significant day of Moni Amavasya, the day that the Amrita, drops of Amrita descend to this world, until the last day, which is today. Why is his disappearance today Ati Martya? Because he had said 1 year earlier, he said, I will disappear on Srila Vama Maharaj's day. And then what happened? It was during Kartik and the disappearance day of Srila Vama Maharaj came. And we were all praying and feeling it is imminent that Srila Gurudev will leave, but he did not leave. But he stayed in this world for a few more months. And then, because he said, I'll disappear on Srila Vama Maharaj's day, but he did not specify appearance or disappearance. And then on this day is on the appearance day of his most near and dear godbrother and Shiksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. He could not tolerate separation from his dear godbrother. And how they would serve their Gurudev together, he could not tolerate that separation any longer. And on this day, Srila Gurudev, Atimarcha Charitraya, by his supernatural characteristics, exactly as he had foretold, disappeared on that day today. So in this way, though I am most unqualified, I am offering my Shraddha Pushpanjali like the broken words of a child who has no power to speak, at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev, and I am praying that he will always keep me in his shelter and service forever. Nityalila Parvishta Om Vishnupad Ashtodara Satasri Rupanuga Charyavarya Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaja ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.